Hey everybody, welcome back to the Lightside Music Reactions. Today we have another request. This one is from Wayne and Lynette. They are huge fans of Cliff Richard, and we've reacted to several of his songs already, and they requested that I check out his song, Why Should the Devil Have All the Good Music, from Pop Gospel 1302-1979. So that'd be February 13th. Here in the United States, we go the other way around. It'd be the 2 would be first, then the 13 for February 13th. But in the UK, it's 13 would be the day, the 2 would be the month, and then followed by the year. So looks like February 13th, 1979, the Pop Gospel Show. This is Cliff Richard performing Why Should the Devil Have All the Good Music. Now this song, I'm familiar with the song, but not Cliff Richard's version of it. The song was written and performed originally by Larry Norman in 1972, and it was on his album Only Visiting This Planet. Larry Norman was a pioneer in Christian rock music, influenced a lot of people over the years, including U2 and a bunch of others, and he released over 100 albums. In 1968, he was a street preacher and would walk up and down Hollywood Boulevard, and ended up going into the music industry, writing his own music, and he had a band, and then went into Christian music because he believed in Jesus, but he didn't really support the local church because he felt like a lot of the church of the day was really not getting it, and kind of like had become a lot like Pharisees of Jesus' time. And I can understand that. Even today, in a lot of ways, we're all like Pharisees, and we've got a lot to learn. And so as a church, I'm a pastor myself, and as a church, we have to be able to relate to the people. And he wanted to relate to the people in a language that they understood and be able to present to them music that they would listen to that would get their attention and then share the gospel with them. And that has been, over the years, that has been the calling of my band, Crusade, as well. That's why we started doing what we did. When we first started out in 1991, we did the typical church praise choruses and the old-fashioned hymns. But then as we started doing more youth activities, we realized that we weren't really speaking in their language. And so we started playing more popular style music. We started writing our own songs in the musical genre of the day. And it really started attracting people's attention, especially the youth. And so we were able to reach a lot of people with the modern style music, but the music about Jesus and the gospel that would draw them into the church in a way that the church, doing its typical old-fashioned hymns, was not able to do. And so Larry Norman has been a huge influence on me and my band. And this is one of his popular songs, which really the lyrics kind of explain his whole philosophy. Why should the devil have all the good music? Music-wise, not lyrically. And the problem with rock and roll music that I have over the years is so much of it is garbage lyrically. That's where you get into the trouble, is with the lyrics. It's not the music of rock and roll that's an issue. A lot of churches, they think it is. But really, the problem with rock and roll music and pop culture music, from a Christian standpoint, is the lyrics and the way that it pulls people away from Christ. But if you can use the language of the people of the day to draw them in with music that they're going to listen to get their attention, and then present to them the gospel in a way that they're going to be receptive to, I think that's a wonderful thing. But anyway, Larry Norman was part of the Explo 72, which was a 6-day event in Dallas, Texas, which was called the Jesus Woodstock. And he went on from there to become what a historian named John J. Thompson said, Larry Norman is to Christian music what John Lennon is to rock and roll, or Bob Dylan is to folk music. And so, very influential. The first time I heard this song wasn't Larry Norman's version, but actually the version, the remake by Jeff Moore and the Distance that they put out in 1986. And then after hearing them, I got interested in Larry Norman and his music, and he's got some great songs, and we're going to have to react to some of them on this channel at some point. But for today, we're checking out Cliff Richard's 1977 version of Why Should the Devil have all the good music. I'm sorry, 1979. He recorded a studio album, a studio version of this in 77. Today we're checking out, per request, the pop gospel version recorded on, looks like February 13th, 1979. And here we go. Link in the description to the original video and music. Okay, so this is a live version in the studio.
People say to me that Jesus and rock and roll can never go together.
I think the wrong.
Chance to say I feel so good, gotta get up and dance. Why should the devil? I know what's right, I know what's wrong. I should confuse it. Why should the devil have all the good music? I feel good every day. Jesus is the rock and he rocked my blues away.
All right, so he's here with this band. This is Cliff Richard. And this recording is sourced from historical archive footage, and they've what's the phrase? They've restored it. Back in 1979, of course, you got VHS quality. So this video, check it out in the link in the description. It's actually pretty good quality video, and you can hear the nice, clear, crisp music. I know you probably can't hear it well on this channel, on this recording. We got the traffic going by and interfering with everything. But you can go to the link in the description, and hopefully you can hear it better over there. But let's check out the lyrics. I don't have the lyrics for that first section he did, kind of the ad-lib little thing. But as it goes in the verse, it says, I want the people to know that he saved my soul, but I still like to listen to the radio. They say that rock and roll is wrong, give you one more chance. I said, I feel so good, I got to get up and dance. I know what's right, I know what's wrong, I don't confuse it. Well, all I'm really trying to say is, why should the devil have all the good music? And that's the whole perspective that the youth of today is coming from, especially back in the 70s, late 60s and early 70s when the Jesus movement came out. That's why it was so popular, is because the kids liked the music of the day for the music. And so there were so many Christian kids out there that liked the music because it spoke to them. And there's something about music that really speaks to people. It's a universal language. And there's different styles and different genres of music. But music speaks to people in a way that sermon can't, words can't. If I were to get up and give a sermon on Sunday morning, chances are a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, people aren't going to remember that sermon that I preached. But my band, we go in the studio and record an album. We go out and play those live. And people hear those songs. 10, 15, 20 years down in the future, they may remember some of those songs. You play that song for them again, they may start singing along with it because they remember the lyrics from 20, 30 years ago. That's the way it is with music. It speaks to people's hearts. It gets in there, and it really plants seeds. And so what you want to do is you want to use the language of the day, the music of the day, and plant those seeds that are good seeds, seeds that will lead them to Christ. And, Jesus saved my soul, it says, but I still like to listen to the radio. And that's the way a lot of kids are like. They say rock and roll is wrong, give you one more chance. Well, why is it wrong? Well, maybe it is wrong, but it's not because of the music, it's because of the lyrics. And so what do? You change the lyrics. It all goes back to the philosophy of God created everything, and Satan only corrupted it. Satan had never created anything. Satan didn't create marriage. He didn't create sex. God did. It's a wonderful thing that God created, but Satan came along and corrupted it. And so when we see a lot of activities today that people do, in the name of love, in air quotes, so-called love, it's not true love. It's lust. God created love, and Satan turned it into lust. He corrupted it. So there's nothing wrong with love in that context. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing if you do it the way that God intended it. It's the same way with music. God created music. Music's a wonderful thing. God created music, and Satan came along and corrupted it. Not with the music, not with the beat, but with the lyrics, the message inside of it. And so a lot of people hear the beat, and they hear the loud guitars and stuff, and they automatically think that it's bad because it's normally associated with those lyrics that are about living in the world, the hedonistic lifestyle that draws you away from Christ and puts you in bad situations, self-destructive situations. And so if you're used to hearing rock and roll music that has the bad message in the lyrics, then you're going to automatically think that all rock and roll music is bad. But if when you hear the rock and roll music, you're hearing the gospel of Jesus Christ in it, you certainly understand that it's not the music that's the problem, it's the lyrics. And that's my testimony. I was a rhythm guitarist in a Christian rock band for a couple decades, and I spent a large part of my adult life sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ through music in a way that I can't do today, speaking from the pulpit like I do. And so, wonderful thing about music, and God created it. Don't let Satan steal it. Don't let Satan have all the good music. All right. Yeah, I feel good every day because Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues away. Little play on words there. Jesus is the rock. It's a metaphor. And then you kind of, relate that to rock and roll. He's the rock and he rolled my blues away. In fact, our band had a song that we did on our first album, Jesus Is, in 1997, called Rock and Roll. And we borrowed that line. Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues away. Except our line was, my feet are on the rock, my name is on the roll. That's how I like my rock and roll. I'll put a link to that on here sometime when I'm able to upload that song off of our first project. Anyway, they say to cut my hair, they're driving me insane. Okay, that's the second verse. Let's go ahead and get into it.
They say to cut my hair, they're driving me insane. I'm growing it out long to make room for my brain. Sometimes people don't understand much of
He broke too. He started laughing.
nothing wrong with playing the blues they're playing. And you gotta
Nice blues lick on the piano.
why should the devil have all the music? There's nothing wrong with what he's playing.
Woo! Nice lead guitar.
I'm not knocking the hymns, just like a song that's got a beat. No, I'm not knocking the hymn. Give me a song that moves my feet,
All right. So here we move on to they say to cut my hair, they're driving me insane. I grew it out long to make room for my brain. Cute little line there. One of the phrases I've heard and I've used myself is, it's good to be open-minded, but don't be so open-minded your brains fall out. Little play on words there. And he's doing the same thing here, making a joke about the brain and about the hair, that, you grow it out to make room for the brain. But I grew my hair out long for a while. In fact, when I got married, my hair was longer than my wife's at our wedding. And so, and then after we had our daughter, I got it cut. And I just recently got it cut again. Right now, my hair is the shortest I've ever had it in my life. But the length of your hair isn't something that you're going to obsess about. The physical appearance on the outside matters a lot less than what's inside the heart. Jesus talked about that a lot. But I'm not going to go ahead and get into too much details. I want to focus on the song here. But sometimes people don't understand what's a good boy doing in a rock and roll band. And people would look at me, when we first started the band, I would wear my white button-up shirt with the tie, the pocket protector, and all the things. I looked like the typical church boy. standing up in front of church playing, rock and roll music on the guitars with the band around me. And some people didn't understand that. But that I already explained to you the whole concept with when you present music, you want to present it in a way, if you're doing it from a Christian standpoint, you want to present in a way that's going to get your audience's attention and draw them in. So they're going to hear the gospel message. There's nothing wrong with playing blues licks. If you've got a reason, tell it to my face. Why should the devil have all the good music? And I've heard all the reasonings and stuff behind the music, and they talk about the beat, how it's demonic and all that kind of stuff. I don't buy that. Sorry. I've experienced enough with over the years, my band playing this and performing it and seeing lives saved and souls brought to Jesus Christ to know that that's not the case. There are cases where you get bands that are so-called Christian bands that are only doing it for the money, or they're only doing it for the fame or whatever, and then eventually it comes back to bite them on the butt because basically they're just going through the motions and they're not truly a Christian band. They're just Christians in a band. That's one issue is you've got Christians in a band rather than a Christian band. My band was a Christian band. We were Christians, but our music was Christian, our message was Christian, and that was the whole point, the whole focus of our music was to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's what I would use to define a Christian band. But then you've got the bands that start out as Christian and then they end up going secular, like U2, for example, or Creed. And you got members of the band that might not be Christian, and then later on you have where they make statements about not having faith or losing their faith and stuff like that. You've got issues with that as well. And I just pray for them that, if they're in a situation where they're questioning their faith, that, God would help make their faith stronger. Because some of these, even bands like Creed and U2, I grew up listening to, the lead singer, Scott Stapp, was a Christian, but the rest of the band wasn't necessarily. And so it wasn't a Christian band, and the other members of the band would tell you that. We've got spiritual themes to our music, but we're not a Christian band. Other bands would just go along with it because that was popular the day. They'd say, yeah, we're a Christian band. But then, 20 years later, they're doing the deconstruction thing. And I don't want to get into all that, so we'll kind of move on. But continuing the verse here, there's nothing wrong with what we play because Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues away. Repeating that line from earlier. I ain't knocking the hymns. Just give me a song that has a beat. I ain't knocking the hymns. Give me a song that moves my feet. Now, I love all kinds of music on here. You guys have seen the kind of stuff I react to and my reactions to those. I love the old classic hymns. I love country music. I love the old country. I love different styles of music. I love the rock and roll. I love the loud, heavy stuff. I like the soft, easy listening stuff. I just love music. There's just something really special about music. And I'm not knocking the old hymns. I love the old hymns. But sometimes you just want a song, especially the youth, that moves their feet. Something that has a beat that they can dance to, or at least just nod their head to or tap their feet to. And let's go ahead and get back into it and finish out the song.
Jesus told the truth, he showed the way. One more thing I'd like to say. They nailed him to a cross and they laid him in the ground.
The gospel message.
And I feel good every day, I refuse to lose it. All I wanna know from all of you is, why should the devil have all the good music? Why should the devil? Yeah, I've been filled and I feel okay. Why should the devil? Why should the devil? 'Cause Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues. He's the rock and he rolled my blues. Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues away.
Woo, nice.
He's gonna keep on rolling them.
Oh, they keep doing more trash cans. Was that 3? I think 3 total trash can endings you got there. All right, that's a trash can ending where you repeat the the ending over again. That da 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 da, and then you do something again. That can get old sometimes. I have seen some bands, especially praise worship groups, where they'll sing a song, they'll sing the verse, chorus, and they'll say, "Sing that chorus again." That's great. You want to sing the chorus over at the end a couple times, especially if everybody's getting into it. But then one time our band was playing a concert, and our band played for about 30 minutes, and we were able to squeeze, I think, probably 8 or 9 songs into those 30 minutes. Next group came up, and they wanted to do 8 or 9 songs. The only problem was each one of their songs was 30 minutes long. And so they was like, no, you got 30 minutes. And if you do 1 song or if you do 10 songs, you got to fit it in that 30 minutes. But what they would do is they would sing the verse and the chorus, verse, chorus, and then they would say, let's go ahead and sing that first verse again. They go back and sing the first verse and the chorus. Let's do that second chorus again, second verse again. And it would take 30 minutes to do a song, and the audience just hated it because they weren't getting into it. It wasn't really emotional. It was just a nightmare, and it was a disaster. But anyway, the trash can ending they used there, they repeated it just a couple times. Normally you only want to do that once, but just for fun, they did it 3 times there, and it worked. It was really cool. But anyway, let's check out the final lyrics here. Jesus told the truth, and Jesus showed the way. One more thing I'd like to say. They nailed him to a cross, they laid him on the ground. They should have known you can't keep a good man down. And so that's the gospel message. And so if you had any doubt that this was a Christian band and a Christian song, right there's the gospel message. And that's if that doesn't tell you very clearly what the song is all about and what the artist, the songwriter, and the band is all about, then something's wrong. But anyway, I feel good every day. I refuse to lose it. All I want to know from you is, why should the devil have all the good music? I get down and I feel okay, because Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues. Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues. Jesus is the rock and he rolled my blues away. And they did the couple little trash cans there for fun. Great song. I absolutely love the message of the song. It's got the gospel in there. Thank you guys for recommending it. I love Larry Norman. Definitely check his stuff out. And we're going to be certainly reacting to a lot more Cliff Richard stuff on here, because I know he's popular. I know you guys like him. So go ahead and put down in the comments section your requests for any song that you want me to react to by any artist. It could be Cliff Richard. It can be Larry Norman. It could be Jeff Moore, The Distance. It can be a completely different genre. Just give me your requests. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time on the Light Side Music Reactions. Have a great day, and God bless everybody. Bye.